Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. Now, for those of you who haven't seen me before, my name is Debbie and I work with Triangle Nursery. In today's demonstration I'm going to show you how to create a buried wreath. So I've used a moss base, which is actually dried and preserved moss. I've got some real wire and scissors, and then I have these beautiful rose hips. I've pre-cut those so it makes the design easier to work with and create. I'm just going to twist the real wire into the wreath and then start by adding the berries. Now add the berries and bind them onto the ring. I don't want it to be too contrived, so I'm going to add them at a different angle, but do bear in mind when you're creating the design you've got an inner ring and an outer ring, so you want to make sure that the inner ring also has coverage as well as the outer. Now you can see you've got a natural curve in the berries, so use that curve to its advantage in the ring. Now this is a really versatile design to create. You could use it as a ring on your table and then place a candle in the centre of it, or a vase with flowers, or even a plant in the middle if you wanted to. You could also hang it like a traditional wreath, so quite a versatile design. It's also adaptable for many different varieties of plant material. The principle of design is exactly the same regardless of what plant materials you use. So you could use dried products if you wish to, you could use just foliage, you could use seed heads, grasses. The only limitation really is your imagination. Bear in mind it's seasonally adaptable as well, so you could create this for autumn. You could then make a Christmas design for the Christmas season. Going into spring, you could bring a spring element into it, and obviously you've got Easter and then summer, so perfect all year round design to create. Now I'm just going to pause here for a moment just to show you what I mean about the inner ring and the outer ring. So that part of the inner ring is actually quite bare. So I'm going to bring some of the smaller stems, create a cluster, pop that into the inner ring and ensure that they're bound on nice and tightly. Now if you prefer to work with twine rather than binding wire as I am here, you can. The principle is exactly the same. Now you could, if you prefer as well, make it more dense. If you wanted it to be a more dense appearance, then cut the pieces of berry that much shorter and place them in a tighter position on the ring. Now this design will not have a water source, so bear in mind it's got no way of taking hydration. So these berries will eventually dry, so you could leave it in situ and have a dried product as well. But if you are using fresh items, then you're going to need to have some kind of hydration source. So perhaps place water phials so that they can drink, or in fact use a fresh wreath frame. Now any of the stems that appear a little bit too unruly, just trim those off and then continue on your way. As you can see, it's not a complicated process. Slightly time consuming, I would suggest. It's something you could bring perhaps the children into doing, ready for Halloween. Or indeed create a workshop scenario for friends. Now, as we're approaching the end of the design, I'm just going to show you how to finish. Now lift up the first placements and place your last placements directly underneath and bind into position. And there you have it, a really simple and effective wreath to welcome in the season and add a floral touch to your door or into your home this autumn. Autumn is one of our favourite seasons to bring natural elements, textures and colours from the landscape into your compositions. So I hope this tutorial has inspired you and you can employ these techniques into your own floristry for yourself, your clients, and perhaps do your own workshops this autumn or into the festive season. If you've enjoyed this demonstration, make sure to hit the like button, share with your fellow florist friends, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more seasonal inspiration, flower care and tips for all things floral. If you have any questions, tips, or have created similar in the past, please share in the comments box below. All of the ingredients can be found on our website, including the fresh rose hips, base and florist supplies. Thanks again. I look forward to seeing you in another tutorial. Bye for now.